Hey there YouTube! The title of this video is Should You Recommend College to a Kid with ADD? Basically, this video is just a recommendation I wish somebody had given me when I was first considering going to college. College just turned out to be not the right choice for me, and there was some pretty clear signs early on that I wasn't a good fit for it. And I think a lot of people just assumed that because that I was a pretty smart kid, and that's what smart kids do. You know, they go to college, and I think that if they'd really reassessed my strengths and stuff, they're like, hey, he could do a lot more, a lot quicker if he went this path instead of college. And I think it's just so socially accepted that the brightest kids go to college, and I'm not saying I'm the brightest, I'm just saying I wasn't a dumb kid, but I just wasn't matched up right in college. So I wish somebody had just sort of thought it out, be like, hey, he should probably actually do this. And so I'm making that video in that light of maybe a kid with ADD or somebody recommending college can maybe put a little thought to the recommendation, be like, okay, he would actually fit better over there. But that's this video. Just because I'm saying somebody doesn't belong in college does not mean I'm saying they won't be successful or even more successful. So that's how I'm going to start it out. Let's first get just out of the way who I think should be going to college. Just these people that the best option for them is traditional higher education, you know, university, everything like that. So who I think should be going would be the top performers in the classroom, the kids that get straight A's, you know, without grinding you know, their fingers to the bone, studying and doing extra work just to catch up. So these are kids that are in the top, I would say probably, this is just a rough estimate, but 5%, but just get straight A's ahead in all their classes and really just soak in the information the way the teacher is teaching it. Why do I think that those particular kids should be in college? Well, I was recently in the higher education system in college, and I had a really great professor that told us a lot of things that other people, I guess, just hadn't bothered to look up and really research about the whole process of getting a job after college. And we were in the biology and chemistry department, and he took us all one day. We went and we did a job search on several really good for academic. I don't remember exactly which job search engines they were, but they were very specified for postgraduates. And he pretty much showed us all that you needed a master's at the very least to get these jobs, because all of the requirements were, it will take a master's but prefers a doctorate. So that was the basis. It's like, okay, a bachelor's degree is worthless in this field. You're going to need a master's, preferably a doctorate, because look at the jobs. They're not hiring for anything else. And then what I saw when we were doing this job search is I looked around and I'm like, there's about, 20 or 30 kids that are in this class right now that we all need to do this job search. And there's around 20 of these jobs available right now. And I'm like, this is looking in about the 5-state region we were in, and it's like, there's not enough jobs for the students in this class alone. And there's thousands of other people with our majors, that are going to be graduating at the same time. So there was simply not enough jobs there's just not enough jobs to go around. And so getting the degree wasn't the issue anymore. He spoke to this. He's like, you've got to be the top performer, get super good recommendations, because they're going to pick the cream of the crop because they can. They don't have to pick anybody but the best, because that's all the amount of people they need is the very top. So that's why I recommend, if you're the cream of the crop, best student, easily, rises to the top and stays there, then college can be the right choice for you, because then you'll be able to get those jobs, those few jobs that are available, and they're nice jobs, okay, but they're just not enough. So if you're the very top, then go for it. Okay, now for everybody that has to work their butt off to get into the middle of the pack, and that was me so much. The way the teacher taught, it didn't soak in immediately. I had to do like 2 to 3 other processes just to get the information to stick in my brain. And I was always pretty much, because there's the people that just soaked it right in. They stayed at the top, and then there was the rest of us. I would not recommend, because there was simply the jobs would be taken by the time they get down to you. It's like there's just none left. You've got to be the top. So everybody else, for that reason, especially if you have a different learning style, which pretty much is ADD, you learn differently, you have different strengths. I would recommend, for that reason, the lack of jobs, which is a pretty big reason, is one of the biggest reasons not to put yourself go through the college experience. And just to dive into more of why my learning style didn't really match up with the way they taught there, just so you better understand it. You have to be, if you've been in college anytime recently, you understand this. It's like you're not on your timetable, you're on their timetable, and that means you're the learning timetable too. So if you want to shoot ahead, or you get super interested in a subject, there's no extra credit, or it's minimal at best, but you have to trudge along at their pace, even if you want to go faster. And then when you get into a subject that you have no interest for, no passion, you have to keep trudging along at that same pace. And so I'm more, and I think a lot of people with ADD are, when we're passionate or extremely interested about something, we can go at 100 miles an hour and just devour all the information about it. And the current level of higher education doesn't reward that strength. And they sort of they penalize the fact that when you're not interested in something, it's drudgery to try to keep up, that pace. So that's the second reason why I think someone with ADD, the learning style is just wrong. So you're not able to, so then it goes back to, you're fighting for the middle of the pack. And then when you're in the middle of the pack and you barely make it into the graduate program, you're not the shining star that immediately gets picked up for the job. So you're going to be passed over by the people that their learning style matches up. So those are basically the reasons why I believe ADD, a kid with ADD, you shouldn't be recommending them to go to college. And it's really pressured, that the thing to recommend to kids, it's like, oh, you need to pursue education, which means you need to go to college, you need to do, and it's like there's so many things where you could learn so much more and capitalize on your strengths and really go further in life and not waste a lot of time on something that's not built for you. Basically, I'm just wanting to put out there that if you know us, and I know you're gonna get I got flack when I didn't go to college, when I dropped out. I got from everybody that's like, I had a grandmother that she lives out of state, don't really have too much contact with her, but she mostly just contacts my dad, and then he passes along things to me, and she wanted specifically just to pass along to me when I dropped out of college that she was disappointed. End of message. And I was like, I started my own business and I'm doing just fine. I've got savings. I'm perfectly fine here. But she just wanted to pass along. So you're gonna get a lot of flack if you're the person dropping out, and I think if you're the person maybe recommending to a kid, hey, you're not a superstar at school. You're a smart kid, but your grades are kind of shitty. I mean, like, B's and C's in high school are a good indication that you probably need to think of a different path. And all I can say and that's a hard conversation to have with a kid, because it's just so beaten into them that it's like, if you want to be successful, you got to go to college, and if you don't go to college, you're a deadbeat. And so, but I wish somebody would have had that conversation with me, or just at least considered the fact that it's like, okay, he's a decent student in high school, and when I got into college, it's like, oh geez, he's not that great of a student, compared to the top performers. Maybe he should be doing something else, and actually encourage going out and trying something else. That's what I figured it out myself, and it was a process that I needed to learn, no matter where it came from. So I don't have any really regrets, but I think a lot of kids will waste a lot of time because they didn't have somebody recommend, maybe you should do something else besides college, because you could get to your dreams faster in this path over here, maybe starting a business, going and just interning somewhere, or just picking up a skill like photography or coding or anything like that, where you could just connect with somebody, a business that's successful. You could get to a place way faster because you're actually using your strengths of hyper focus and disregard of things that don't interest you. You could get where you want to be so much faster than if you wasted your time in college and wasted a ton of money. So that's just the gist of this video. Something I would recommend is maybe an alternative that helped me out a lot. When I dropped out of college, I went into a commission-only sales job, and it was hell. It was if you haven't been in sales before and then you get into this, I had a lot of savings, and we pretty much, just lived off that for a while. And it's a good learning. You learn a lot of things, and I went from nothing to being able to support myself from all the lessons I learned there in that job. So that's something I would recommend and another recommendation is just like, everybody that tells you that they're disappointed in you for not doing that, it's like they'll change their tune in a couple of years after you're doing okay. You won't be stoking it after a couple of years, because it takes longer than that. But when they see it's like, man, he can pay his bills, and he didn't go to college, and he doesn't have the debt that he used to, that all of his friends does, they're going to change their tune. So ignore those people for now, because they'll eventually come around, most of them. And just try out a sales job somewhere. You're going to learn so many lessons from that. So that's what I've done, and it helped me out a lot. And if somebody else had just given me a solid recommendation to maybe try that out instead, I think I would have gotten to where I am now a little bit quicker. And I have a small amount of debt because of college, but it's not huge because I was smart about it. But it would have saved me that too. So that's just the thought of the day. Maybe try to help match the person you're mentoring, the person you're recommending things are, and they're listening to you, to a path that actually fits them the best. So that's all for now. I hope you have a good one.